Hello and welcome to another edition of A Long Story Short. My name is Vineet Malhotra, and today we have the absolute pleasure of having someone who's not only been a cultural icon, an entertainment icon in this country, but also somebody who's been at the center of Bollywood. She's in fact ruled box office when it comes to Bollywood in the 80s and 90s. Actress Meenakshi Seshadri joins us on a very candid and a long-awaited conversation. She's been missing in action for quite some time, so we're going to try and catch up and understand what has she been up to, what are the plans. Meenakshi ji, first of all, appreciate that you took out the time. You're here with us speaking on NewsX on A Long Story Short. Thank you so much. Your fans want to know, people who've been trying to get a glimpse of you want to know, where have you been for the past 28 odd years?
Well, I was on planet Earth. I did not disappear like somewhere out of the universe. I married, migrated to the USA, and spent the last almost 3 decades with my family, um, living the life of a wife, a mother, and a US citizen in US environment, atmosphere, trying to create a new life for myself there. Not trying to create, I created a new life for myself there. And coming back now is, we'll talk in more detail, but it's been a long awaited move, kept in the distance when I got married. But the understanding was that one day when both my kids would be independent and old enough to manage on their own, if any of them wanted to come to India with me, they were welcome. But if not, I would relocate to India and do whatever I felt like doing, which is why I'm here now. I'm here, lock, stock, and barrel, after a long gap.
After a very long gap, you quit the industry in 1996, if I'm not mistaken. Your last movie was a super hit, Ghatak. I think it came out in 1996. A lot of people would want to understand what made you, quit at the helm, at the peak, at the zenith of your superstardom. Was it an easy decision?
I uh, Number one, I decided to quit because I was ready for marriage, family, and the person I had brought into my life did not live in India. I did try to request him and see if he could relocate to India. And just for my sake, he tried one whole year to work on a collaboration between an American and Indian company and see if he could start a new life in India, just so that I could stay in my, comfort zone. But we both realized that it wasn't working out. And so I said, okay, America, here I come. My family and friends were not for this marriage because they said, you'll quit everything and you will not get these opportunities there. All the things that you love to do, which you're good at, which people like to see, how on earth are you going to, deal with it? But as I say that when my priorities were my love, my family, my marriage, so nothing else mattered.
So, in retrospect, are you content with this decision that you make, or do you sometimes regret it?
No,
Of moving to the United States,
I have no
giving up
regrets.
everything.
No, I think I gave up not everything, but just a part of myself, which was connected with the entertainment industry. I, in fact, gained a lot more when I went to the US, learning to live in a new country, which is known as the melting pot, with people from all over the world who have migrated there and who live there, coexist with each other, and living and then teaching dance in that environment where I was not just dealing with South Asians, but people from any part of the world through my art. Learning to be a homemaker and a mother. Wow, these are things I would not have exchanged for anything.
But how was the experience slowing down from being in the entertainment industry where you always have to be on your toes and just completely slowing down? How did it feel? Was it a respite for you, or do you think that you had to in fact work hard upon it? I'm going off script.
Couple things were tough. Cooking, I didn't know how to drive. I was very afraid of the fast speed of the cars on the interstate roads,
On the freeways.
the freeways. I never really got to be a good cook. And I, till the end of my life, I will ask forgiveness from my family for that, that we had to order in food a lot. Also, regarding the driving, once I got the hang of it, I became quite an adventurous driver. If I could drive anywhere, I would go. The easy part was settling down with my family and trying to give my children the love for music and dance, which I had. They both learned some music, and my daughter learned some dancing when they were very young. Till one fine day, they both decided they did not want to learn classical Indian music and dance. That was it. I think any new country, any new culture, it's a learning curve.
Mm.
And I've always been a very introverted, shy person who likes to keep her words to herself. And I think a large percentage of women in the US talk a lot. And they're very loud, they're very outgoing, and they're very, very confident. So some of that did brush off on me. 2 years back, when I reached India again after such a long gap, my friends told me, "Why are you talking like this? Why do you have this weird accent?" I said, "Koi baat nahi, 2 saal yahan rahungi, I will lose all my American accent."
Let's also talk about, let's do a flashback. Some of your movies, such iconic movies like Damini and Hero, 80s and the 90s was a very different era. I remember it. I was growing up in the 80s and the 90s. Take us through that time, when you're at the peak of your career. Bollywood is, a different animal altogether, and you're enjoying all the success, with Damini and Hero and loads of other movies that you did. What was that period like? How much did you enjoy it?
In that period, not only was there movies and triple shift shootings and working with the best of producers, directors, and actors, there was also my dual career of a classical dancer on stage, which was happening simultaneously during the period 1990 to 1996. And then there was also my bachelor's and master's degree courses that I took in the beginning and towards the end of my career, in addition to all that acting and dancing. So I think I've always been hungry and greedy for knowledge, for learning, or even just the process of learning. I don't know if I've become very smart because of that, but that process, the discipline it gives you is amazing. And it was always a paradox that in real life I was pushed and pulled towards dance, music, and studies. But the persona people identified with was Damini or Shalu of Shehenshah, or, who could be Chalu and Sadak Chhap and Chamak Chalo, whatever you want to call. So these are all interesting personas in Indian film heroines around that time. There were some categories of roles that you got to play. Of course, there was always those 4 song and dance numbers and those outrageous costumes and slightly over the top makeup and hair. So I enjoyed in every part of it. And my life, if you took a day out of my schedule, it would be very much like this: get up at 5 a.m., do my power walk on Pali Hill, do my yoga at home for 1 hour, do my aerobics and calisthenics for half an hour, do my classical dance practice for 1 hour. My teachers would come to teach me. I would dance on the sixth floor penthouse apartment I was in. All my neighbors were very understanding with my thumping and stomping. And then eat, get ready, rush, shoot, go from place to place, and then come back home and just go to sleep. So this was my life for almost 10 years,
Wow.
almost a decade. I did not look anywhere, left or right, just concentrated on working hard. And I have to add one little thing here
Mm.
is that I did about 80 movies, but probably there are about 15 of them which are very uh, good for people to remember the names. And about five of them were like really exceptional. Regardless of that, now that when I've returned, and I have still not done any work on this big screen or the OTT platform, I'm mostly doing appearances, dance shows.
Mm.
The response I've got in this last 1 year to my very humble Insta social media account has been awesome,
Mm.
which is tells me that whatever I did then was like I laid the foundation then, and I'm reaping the dividends now.
So, ma'am, you said five movies that you feel which were really exceptional. According to you, if you rate your own performance and the impact these movies have had on the psyche of the people and your fans, which five movies would it be? I'm sure Damini is there.
Hero
Ghayal is
Damini,
there.
Hero Damini, uh, घायल, घर हो तो ऐसा,
Hmm.
and घातक, though it was not a major length, major footage role for me, but a very well made film, which people instantly connect with and remember. Uh, so there were some films which I did which were out of the box. Swati, which I did in the third year of my career,
Yeah.
or Avara Baap, where I played a double role, which was also in the third year of my career. So I kind of branched away from typical front bencher appealing heroine roles where you have to appear cute and sexy, that kind of concept where you're straight jacketed it, that this is the mold you have to fulfill. I kind of veered away from it pretty early. So I ended up doing a lot of movies which were like family dramas and emotional sagas. And um, so now when I look back at my career, I did not play safe. And if some of those movies had done better than what they did, it could
Hmm.
have been a very different story for me as well as for heroine roles, which were being written at that time.
Hmm. Hmm.
After Damini, which is 1992 release, I have looked at the top movies in the last 30 years where it has been a heroine centric role and performance. And I find very few movies standing out in these 30 years.
Hmm.
I personally loved Karina in Actress. Was it
Yeah.
Actress? I thought that was
Heroine.
Heroine. That I thought that was amazing, and what a performance she gave.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to find movies in the since Tamil till today that can stand out like that, as they were very different and they performed beautifully.
Right. You know, of course, there are commercially successful movies that everyone remembers, but there are other movies, which are still raved about. Some of them, which include Jurm, Awargi, Satyame Vijayate. They were offbeat in a way. They had a social message for the country, but at the same time, they were packed with powerful performances. Satyam and Vijayte, your performance is something which is unforgettable. Apart from the great job the late Mr. Vinod Khanna also did. What do you remember of these movies?
I was ecstatic when Vinod Khanna returned. And
From
some
the
of
ashram, you mean?
after his sabbaticals
Yeah,
from
from the ashram, yeah.
yeah. So and that we did 2 3 movies together, and I was really excited because both Satyamev Jayate and Jurum were good stories,
Mm.
and again very different, and both were remakes. And then Jurum's song, which kind of has swamped the world of, sentimental occasion celebrating music. How can I forget those kind of moments? With Vinodji, the thing which I repeat very often in many of my interviews, but I have to say it again, is I was very different in his company because he was a very different person from your atypical Bombay industry male hero. He had left all of that for spiritual reasons.
And that too at the top of his career.
At the top of his career. So when he came back, his attitude and his behavior was so exceptional. And I was so much at ease with him that I would look forward to our shooting days together so that we could share dirty jokes. Yeah. And I have to say this, I have not done this with any other male person I've known in the film industry except Vinod Khanna. So that is something very unique about him that I felt so relaxed in his company and trusted, that I'm not being judged or put in a particular mold.
What about Rishi Kapoor? Obviously you guys had a great chemistry in Damani. That movie is not only about a social cause, it's also a love story between two people who are stuck in their own version of reality.
Very well put. I think Rishiji and myself did the first movie we did together was called Bade Ghar Ki Beti, if I'm not mistaken. At that time, he and Juhi Chawla and he and myself did a lot of these village slash family slash emotional drama based subject movies. I think with Rishiji, I must have done about 5 to 7 such films. And 3 things stand out. Number one, he was from the Kapoor family with a background of exceptional talent behind him, and he himself embodied superior talent to most anybody in the movie business. He was so patient, so caring, a companion on the sets, that, the first day itself, I forgot that this is Rishi Kapur, who's this legend. Second thing, he's very, very frank.
Yeah.
One of the few co-stars I have seen who would come and say, Meenakshi, you're messing this up. You're doing it this way. Try and not do it this way. Do it this way. You're ruining the scene. That kind of, and you didn't even mind because there was no malice in what he was saying. He was doing it for your betterment. And the third thing is his expressions, especially during songs. How he could do moves, but his face seemed to be like waves in the ocean just seamlessly flowing. I could never get the hang of how he did that, though. Yeah. Damini, I'm so glad it was him. And I maintain till date that the awards went to Sunny, but the performance was Rishi Kapoor's.
Absolutely, absolutely. Another memorable movie of yours, which is also my favorite. In fact, every kid's favorite from the 80s is Shahenshah with Amitabh Bachchan and the late Amrish Puri. What do you remember of that juggernaut, if I can call it that? It's a movie which is still viral. It's its scenes have become iconic on social media.
I'm glad Shahenshah is an iconic movie, and I got to be one of the showpieces in the cast. Uh, Anil Kapoor saw the film and told me, Meenakshi, तुम तो पटाखा हो इस film में. Which I, considering I was doing all this drama, social stories, and all that, this was really a spark, which came out of nowhere. I think few things stand out for me. Experiencing working with Amitabh Bachchan for the first time
Yeah.
and getting to learn so much in that process. That was amazing. Second thing was sharing with Amit ji the fact that my first experience of seeing him with my own eyes was when he was shooting with Rekha ji for Silsila in New Delhi.
No.
And I was studying in a school in New Delhi at that time. Our school bus, while returning home in the afternoon, we saw these two on their motorbike shooting. The bus driver said, "We're going to follow them." And we said, yes. We begged them to stop. They did. But before we could get autographs, Yashji came in the car with the camera and said, "Shot ready." And Amitji said, "Sorry, girls," and left. So I shared this with him. I said, "I'm sitting behind you on the motorbike, shooting with you 5 years after that incident. And it's not Rekha, it's me who's sitting, and actually I am the heroine with the Amitabh Bachchan." So these are like, that's like almost unbelievable kind of coincidence to happen.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
What of Amrish Puri, ma'am? He's also more of an icon. People don't know much about him off screen. What has been your experience with Amrish Puri, the bad guy?
See, we have had some such limited number of actors and actresses in our movie business who may not have been supposedly the main protagonist of the story, but they came across so strong and so important that it is an indelible impression on anybody's minds. And Amrish Puri is one of those people. And that's why he commanded some fantastic roles. And he got central roles. He got international recognition.
With Indiana Jones.
Yeah, and my first experience was with him was in Hero, where we did not have much to do with each other. Um, I This is not trying to say anything against him, okay? But I always felt he was a ladies' man. He's very suave, very smooth. And I'm like, I would try to correlate that part of his personality and then that part which played these awesome roles on screen. And I could never really understand that correlation. But I think there aren't many people like him in the last 2 decades
Yeah.
who have left such a mark on our minds.
Hmm. Ma'am, what about rivalries in the 80s and 90s? Did you have an active rivalry with any of the other female stars like Madhuri Dixit or the late Devi? And was it something that actually existed, or do you think that the film fairs and the Stardusts made it up?
I think there were 5 to 8 of us who were kind of all on the same level in a way. So that was like Sridevi Jayaprada, Madhuri, me, Juhi, Amrita, maybe. The others were either more senior or more junior. I'm talking about peers in terms of age. And yeah, nobody really talked about rivalry. And I think we all got good work. But I personally am totally in awe of Sridevi and Madhuri. I feel that what they have contributed as women in the Hindi movie industry is unparalleled. And I mean, that's my honest opinion. And with Sridevi, she started at the age of 3 or 4, and she ruled the roost in each of those 4 South Indian languages and on Hindi, and evolved, learned the language, performed amazingly. Oh, come on, that's really special. This is not something you can just say, she was also there. Yeah, maybe we were rebels. No, they were a class apart. And I'm just glad I was sharing the same space with them, and the audiences thought I was worthy enough to be, my name to be taken along with people like Sridevi and Madhuri and Juhi. I think I take that as an honor.
Mhm. Ma'am, how is Bollywood today different, according to you, from what you experienced in the 80s and the 90s? How has that changed? I mean, apart from the OTT bit, we'll get to that later. Uh, is it easier for actors to come in? Is it more difficult because of, so many avenues of communication and so many opportunities to present yourself?
If you fall into quicksand,
Mm.
and right, and you're trying to come out of it, you don't really know how far you're going in, which part of you is getting pulled more than the other, and how it looks to some outsider who's seeing you from far away, and how they think they can pull you out of that quicksand. Okay, why am I giving you this example? Is when you're actually trying to do something, you don't really know how to judge. Is it easier? Is it more difficult? Is it different from 20 years back? The few things are very obvious. Come on, technology, corporate involvement, the old ranks totally giving way to the new, OTT coming in, or entertainment industry becoming even more, professional, in more kind of professional options coming up for people for work. So all that is there, which is why I'm here along with many other good friends of mine from my 80s and 90s era. So I'm in no position to comment. All I know is I'm here and I can only control myself and my choices. And my choices involve and revolve solely around harvesting whatever little bit of talent and knowledge I have, which is like acting, dancing, singing, speaking. These 4 things primarily. It could go to writing too. Uh, I just want to express. And my family has given me their wholehearted support. And there's like, go and do your stuff, show the world. Don't want to show the world, do it for yourself, whatever. So I'm here to do my best. And let's see how much the industry has changed. If they've changed a lot, they'll probably like me because I've also changed.
That's a great response. What are your thoughts on the OTT platforms? They are obviously, shaking things up in Bollywood. They are obviously uh, giving more avenues, giving more opportunities. That has to be good, and you've already articulated it. That is the result of the corporatization of Bollywood.
The first thing everybody knows now because of new platforms is how much of amazing talent we have in India. Where earlier such talent could not be spotted, could not be presented, could not be made successful, it is possible now. And this is a worldwide phenomenon. And if India is able to show a good, it's not only success rate, but quality of what is being produced because of that, I think that's kudos to this country, kudos to this entertainment industry. And like just today, I was reading that stand-up comedian Veer
Yeah,
is
the
he's going to anchor a major Hollywood event.
Emmys. Yeah, that's a
Oh,
big deal.
so the or Priyanka Chopra has this immense face which she shows through the to the world. through entertainment and through voluntary work or social presence. So I think it's all good. But it'll take some courage to, because it's all happening and things are progressing and big screen theater issues are there, and that industry has to be sorted out. Uh, I'm sending all my good vibes to everybody in this world, in this space.
And the big question I've been waiting to ask you, when are we going to see you return to the big screen?
2025.
Oh, wow. I could have asked for anything. Okay, that's
But
great.
the actual announcement of the project, everything will come from the production house sooner, hopefully, than later.
Hmm. Ma'am, before we end, I had another question in mind. Was it easier for you to adapt back into India after staying for so long in the United States? And do you miss the United States now as compared to being in India?
I miss my family.
Hmm.
So daily or at least 4 times a week video calls are how we stay abreast of each other, or phone calls whenever possible. And adjusting to India after coming back, initially I was a brat. I was a newly returned from US brat. Look at these streets, look at this road, look at this garbage everywhere. Oh my, look at the stink. There's no planning, there's no parking area. I went on and on for almost a month, I think.
Hmm.
And finally I settled. And I shut my mouth, that's it. Do as the locals and the natives do. And that's it.
Well, Meenakshi ji, it's been, a dream come true to speak to you. And I still feel it's a very surreal moment for me. You and of course all your fans are very eager to to watch you come back, hit the screens again in a new avatar, in a new environment of Bollywood, which is of course progressive and inclusive in a lot of ways. Thank you so much for speaking with me, for taking out the time, and I wish you best from my heart. And we get to see you soon on the big screen or an OTT platform. Thank you so much for speaking with A Long Story Short.
Thank you. And one last thing,
Yeah.
not to forget, a dance reality show could very well be also the next thing happening.
Wow. I'm sure you're going to nail that because you come prepared. You've done that all your life.
Yeah. Thank you, Vineet.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.